Hello, Hugo Reed. Good to see you all. This week, for our nonfiction book, we have a book called Ants. It says they are hard workers. And this is by the editors of Time Life Books. It's a Time for Kids and part of the Science Scoops series. I really like these books. They have good pictures, good information. The title page. We have a little table of contents. Let's see what we have. The ants go marching. An army of ants is hard at work. Ants are busy digging. They are crawling on the ground. They are searching for food. Wow, that's a really magnified picture of the ants, isn't it? You can really see their different body parts and their legs. And even on this one, you can kind of really see their pinchers. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. Let's read a little further and see if it tells us. I bet it will. Ants are insects. Like all insects, they have 6 legs and 3 body parts. They have a hard covering much like a shell. Here are the parts of a queen ant. So like bees have queen bees, ants have a queen ant too. So this isn't the regular worker ant. I bet you noticed right away something that's different. It has wings, right? Most of the ants we see crawling around on the ground don't have wings. Wings. Only queens and male ants have wings. These ants fly up into the sky to mate. The abdomen, so that's the big part of the body. The abdomen holds the organs. It is also where ants store food. The legs. Ants have 6 legs that help them to run, climb, and dig. I see ants in little piles of dirt, but I don't actually think about them digging, so that's kind of interesting. The head. The head holds the brain, the eyes, and the antenna. Here's the eyes. Ants have compound eyes that help them sense motion. I bet it'll tell us more about that. That's kind of interesting. Compound eyes. Don't know yet what that is. The mandibles. Ants have strong jaws called mandibles. They are used to dig, cut, bite, and carry objects. The antenna. These feelers help ants to touch, taste, and smell. Ants will also use their antenna to communicate with each other. And the last one is the thorax. So that's the middle part of the body. So they have the head, so far the abdomen. This is the thorax. The 6 legs are attached to the thorax. So that great big long body, but the legs are attached in that smaller middle part. So there's the parts of the queen ant. How big? The atomic ant is the smallest ant. It's about the size of a grain of sand. Oh my goodness, you wouldn't even really be able to know it was an ant, would you? The giant tropical hunting ant is the biggest ant. It can grow to more than 1.5 inches big. So, that's pretty big. I don't think I would like to necessarily see an ant that big crawling in my yard, although I don't mind ants, but it says there are nearly 12,000 different kinds of ants. They can be brown, green, black, red, yellow, purple, or blue. Ants live everywhere except Antarctica. Not a lot of different animals or insects live in so many places. That's almost everywhere. So this says it is the green head ant. Those are very colorful, aren't they? Such cool pictures. Can you really see that one? Wow, so magnified. And its head is green, isn't it? The head part's down here. Remember, this was the abdomen, the thorax, where the legs are attached. This one's sort of interesting because the body parts, the abdomen doesn't look way bigger. In some ants, I think it looks way bigger than the abdomen. These don't look that far different to me. This one says, all in the family. Most ants live in groups called colonies. A colony has 3 types of ants: queens, males, and workers. Queens have 2 important jobs. They mate with male ants and lay eggs. So the queen is the one that makes all the new ants, right? She's the one that lays the eggs. Down here it says a queen ant and the workers. So look how much bigger the queen ant is than the worker ants. It's like the queen is this big in this magnified picture. And that one is probably only about, what do you think, half of her body? Quite a bit smaller. When an egg hatches, a larva appears. The larva spins a silky cocoon around itself. This ant is now called a pupa. The pupa grows and grows inside the cocoon. What does that remind you of? About larva and pupa? Sounds very much like butterflies, doesn't it? So in that picture you can see, let's see what it tells us. The fire ant queen with other fire ants, larvas, and pupas. So that's showing both of them, and I don't know yet which is which. But again, you can see how big the queen is compared to the worker ants. And I bet it'll tell us more about larva and pupa as we go along. Worker ants bite open the cocoon. The grown ant comes out. Workers take care of the queen and the younger ants. They also protect the colony. So these eggs need a little help to hatch. It seems like in nature most eggs they'll break out themselves. But in these, do you see them using their mandibles to bite open and let the new insect come out? It says up here, spotted sugar worker ants with cocoons. Cocoons reminds me of butterflies as well. Wow, look at that picture. There's a lot to see there. Ant homes are called nests. Most ants build their nests underground. They dig tunnels and rooms. They can carry the extra dirt inside and it forms an anthill. I'm sorry, they carry the extra dirt outside and it forms an anthill. So everything that they're digging out, they take that up above the ground, which is what we see when we see the little specks of dust that the ants are crawling around. That's the anthill. It's kind of showing one here, I think. Oh, no, actually that's inside. It says a harvester ant tunnel. So that's showing like somehow they could slice that and see underground, and that's showing one of their tunnels, which would be like this. Very cool. Whenever weaver ants build their nests in trees, some ants hold the edges of leaves. Other workers carry the larva along the edges. Larva silk glues the leaves together. Wow. So these are weaver ants. Look how they're gluing leaves together. I've never seen those kind of ants. That would be interesting to do a little more research on those. I'd like to hear some more information about those. This one says snack attacks. Ants eat both plants and animals. They look for seeds, fruit, bread, and even other insects. Ants carry food back to the colony to share. And the little caption on this one says a harvester ant with a seed. So look, that's just a little seed, like a grass seed. Look how big it looks compared to the ant. Ants are very strong compared to the size of their body, so they can pick up really big things. Can you see in that picture the abdomen, the thorax, and the head? I see antenna and legs, the things that this book has already talked about. Some honeypot ants store a juice called honeydew. When a honeypot ant is hungry, it taps its antenna on a fat ant. The fat honeypot ant spits honeydew into the mouth of the hungry ant. So these are honeypot ants, which I haven't seen those either. And look, they talk about some of them are fat. That one really has very big abdomen. Wow. That's kind of amazing that they can even move, isn't it? Because look how big that back end is compared to their legs. Leaf cutter ants are farmers. They cut and chew leaves with their sharp mandibles. Then they make a paste, and the paste is used to grow a garden. Wow. This just says that they're leaf cutter ants. So I'm sure they are biting through those leaves with their mandibles, their jaws. Let's see if it talks about, oh, it's not telling us here what kind of garden they grow. So if you look up leaf cutter ants, that'd be a good thing to research. What kind of garden do they grow? Ants and enemies. It says this is a bee killer bug and a tiny ant. So you see the bee killer bug. Look how much smaller the ant is. Let's see how they take care of it. Ants have many enemies. Spiders, birds, lizards, anteaters, and other animals eat ants. But ants will fight to protect the colony and themselves. Doesn't tell us. Something else to research, right? This is a spotlight, so it's giving us a little more information. Charles Darwin was a famous English scientist. He was born in 1809. Darwin studied how plants and animals developed over time. No living thing was too small to study, not even ants. Darwin noticed that sometimes ants behaved like humans. Let's see what these ants are doing. Ants fight each other. They use their mandibles to bite. Some ants squirt poison from their mouths into their enemies. So these are green tree ants fighting. Seems like they use this saying they sometimes squirt poison into their enemies. It talked about if you tapped that other ant, it would basically spit up honeydew that you could eat. Ants do a lot with the eating and the stomachs. Ants have been on the earth for millions of years. Giant dinosaurs disappeared, but tiny ants survived. Remember that the next time ants invade your picnic. It says ants from Kenya are in this picture. They're kind of long and thin, aren't they? They look a little bit longer and skinnier than the ants that I'm used to seeing around. Did you know? Army ants cross rivers. They link their bodies together to build bridges. Wow, that's amazing. Many green ants can live for more than 10 years. Wow, that's a long time for an insect, isn't it? Even for some animals, that's sort of a long time. Worker ants are all female. So, just like with bees, sometimes we'll read about bees too. The workers are the females. The slaver ant sheds cocoons from other ants. I need to start that one over. The slaver ant steals cocoons from other ant colonies. The ant baby is forced to work when it grows up. Ants can dig tunnels as deep as 35 feet. That is very deep. That would be more than 2 stories tall. Like if you had a 2-story house or a 2-story building, and the dirt, that was how far down they could go. That's a long, 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 long way. And these are some of the words that we talked about already. Words to know. Anthill, larva, mandibles, queen, colony, and cocoon. It says, fun fact, an anteater sticks its long snout into a nest. Its tongue can stretch 19 inches into the tunnel. Ants stick to the saliva that coats the anteater's tongue. 19 inches? That's like a foot is like this far, more or less. That's a long tongue, isn't it? So that's what an anteater, they could stick their tongue way down into the ant's colony. Well, I don't know about you, but once again, reading a nonfiction book makes me want to study a little. It sounds like you could study ants for a long, long time since there's so many different kinds of ants. So let me know if you look anything up and learn some new facts, because I would love to learn what you're learning. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.